All right, welcome back to the New Equity Network radio show. I'm Michael Yorba, your host, broadcasting to you live on the 1160 KBCE AM Dallas Fort Worth, or DFW's Business Authority. All right, I guess this segment, Greg Reiter, CEO, Angel Investor Network. And these people are taking the angel investor sector and turning it on its ear with their marketing processes and all of the introductory processes where you bring investors and projects, investors and companies together. Greg, welcome to the show. Thanks for being here. And let's see if we can get Greg on the line here. Greg, can you hear us? All right, well, let's see if Bill, our board up, can bring Greg back onto the show. The web address for these people is angelnetwork.com. And what they're going to be doing is we're going to be talking about the Jobs Act, crowdfunding, equity, rewards-based. But they've got a project coming up here in August 1st, 2nd, and 3rd, and 4th. And they're teamed up with another company that does... it's FSX, Financial Services Exchange. It does conferences where they find investors and they find projects that are looking for investments, and they put them together. So as soon as we can get them on the line, let Jared come on back into the show. Tom, you come on back into the show. Tom, you brought these people to the table. Tell us about them a little bit, what you know, what they're doing, and why you wanted me to bring them onto the show.
Well, they have a large network of investors and deal makers. They're in California, and they're well connected to a lot of sources. They're very much on top of their game, and they're anticipating a large volume of interest with the changing environment. The angel investor is kind of been in the dark for many years, and they're going to be in a much better position. This is helping bring light to all of these smaller companies, bigger companies, and of course investors.
Look, I'm looking at Meet the Angels, and Greg Reiter is obviously one of the top people on there, but they have another guy in there named Kevin Harrington, and he's one of the original sharks on the Shark Tank. So they're getting a lot of publicity. They've got a newsletter, they do events. And they're getting a lot of publicity for their newsletter and their investors. It looks like, Greg, I think we've got Greg connected now. Can you hear me now, Greg?
I can hear you. Good morning.
Good morning. All right. We've been just kind of backpedaling a little bit, going over what Angel Investors Network does. But now that you're here on the show, give us a little background on you, and then let's get into what Angel Investors Network does.
Very cool. Well, I have a real interesting story. Without going to the real long version, I'll give you the short version. And that is, I was born into a really wealthy family. My parents got divorced when I was 3-4 years old. I went and lived with my mom. I had multiple stepdads, and I visited my dad. So I literally lived the rich dad, poor dad story of the book that Robert Kiyosaki wrote. Now I'll tell people, tell him to send me the royalties. And,
right.
and the best way to explain it is when I went out to dinner with my mom and my stepdads, my half-brothers, the bill was maybe $80. When I went to dinner with my dad, and this is my dad, the tip was $200. And make a long story short, I grew up that way. My dad got me through investing when I was 19 years old. My first investment, I put $2,000 in a stock, turned into $14,000. I thought, this is my home. I'm going to be a stock magnate, And I went and got my securities license and became a registered rep. And then I ended up buying the firm I worked for when I was 21 years old and was hailed as the youngest owner of a full-service broker-dealer in the history of the country. And that was my first big mistake in life, but that's what kind of got me in this business.
All right. Then something led you into the Angel Network, or Angel Investors Network, and tell us what that does and how you got into it.
Well, I'd made hundreds and hundreds of investments over the years, and obviously lost a lot of money because we were working with early stage startups and back to those kind of companies. And when I kind of was looking back in retrospect in the late 90s, I thought, why are these entrepreneurs failing? And it always came back to education and marketing, which is a form of education and knowledge, and management, connections, human capital. So I said, I'm going to dedicate the rest of my life to helping entrepreneurs. I want entrepreneurs to succeed. And I want to personally become a super incredible marketing guru so I can use that experience to help entrepreneurs succeed. Because I think great marketing along with the great management is a recipe for success every time.
All right, so that's what Angel Investor Network does. They combine marketing and investors together. Is that what I'm getting?
Correct. We help. Well, what we did was kind of unique is we have in the Angel Investors Network educational library, we have two thought processes. One, we want to educate the entrepreneur on the language of capital, how to structure a deal, term sheets. And again, everyone's watched Shark Tank TV show, and you see some of the people that get the money, other people they didn't get the money because the words that came out of their mouth were not said in the proper sequence, in the proper way. And then on the flip side, because of the success of Shark Tank TV show and the fact that we have one of the sharks involved with us, we want to help the new investor and educate the new investor, the guy that's watching Shark Tank TV show and that has a high net worth going, I would like to invest in those kind of deals. We want to bring them in the fold and give them the educational components and the knowledge and the wisdom to make those kind of investments as well. So we're both the entrepreneur and the investor, which is what's unique about us.
All right. Now, on the previous segment, we were talking about Reg A Plus, and I know that you've got a few things to bring out on that. Let's go in there and tell us what that new rule. I think it was June 19th that it becomes effective, and it's going to open up a whole new bonanza of these companies being able to advertise and bring their deals to the forefront in another fashion. Talk to us about that.
Well, I think it's an absolute literally game changer. I actually wrote a book called Saving America One Crowd at a Time. I think our free enterprise and capitalistic system is a little bit being threatened with what's happening in our culture and our society and our educational process in the schools. And the Jobs Act, which was signed in August of 2012, and now just parts of it are getting affected, allows the small investor to get involved in what could be the next Facebook, or what could be the next WhatsApp, or could be the next big hit or the big home run, or for that matter, it could be one of the thousands of companies that builds a $100 million company and that gets bought out by one of those big companies that no one ever hears about. And it allows the people that want to put their money to work for them, which is how wealth is traded, is putting your money to work for you, and then have the ability of the crowd, quote unquote, and the internet and technology help you fret out the crooks from the real guys, right? So, you go back to the early days of eBay, and eBay was successful because it had a rating system. If somebody tried to sell something and didn't deliver it, they got rated and they got shut down. So it was a crowd-generated, rating system. And I believe that's what crowdfunding is going to happen online. So it gives that small person the chance to get involved in something where they're putting in $5,000, $10,000, $20,000. Whereas in the history, since the Securities Act of 34, we were, you couldn't advertise and promote a private offering to unaccredited investors. So I think the Jobs Act and Regulation A Plus, again, we're going to have audited financial statements. It's going to be run through broker-dealers or approved crowdfunding portals, so there's due diligence that has to be done in the meantime, but it's going to allow the masses to come in and invest in companies. And at the end of the day, the big benefit to that is job creation, stimulate the economy, and wealth creation.
It is. Now, I have a friend of mine, Ed, that he has a big statement. It's great to have a crowdfunding site, but you've got to have a crowd to go with it. So there's another part of what you guys do that really puts a little more octane in the tank, so to speak.
Yeah, and that goes back to the education. So if I publish a newsletter and I have a membership site and I educate you, the would-be or the want-to-be investor and the would-be and want-to-be entrepreneur, what am I end up doing? I'm building trust and rapport, because as you start to consume the educational content, you gain that wisdom, we gain the utmost respect and trust. So as we put deals into our pipeline and introduce offerings and deals to our network of investors, then we believe we have a better, take rate and viewing rate. And we're actually launching our own crowdfunding portal for Reg A Pluses in June 19th, actually. And we're bringing a couple very, very high-profile deals to the table that we believe we can market those through our means of just marketing, and then that will bring thousands and thousands of investors to the table. And again, we'll leverage our newsletter, our educational content to build that rapport. And at the end of the day, there's crowdfunding platforms like Kickstarter and Indiegogo on the rewards-based side, but they have a following, right? They have an email list, and they can help drive funding for companies. And so we anticipate having the same thing with Angel Investors Network, a database of investors who we've earned our trust with them. And so as we start to promote deals and put deals down that pipeline, they'll take a look at it. Not meaning they'll invest, but they'll at least take a look at it.
Right. Now, we've got about a minute left before we need to go to a commercial break. I want to dive into the kinds of deals that you see coming to you. I don't want to cross any lines about, getting into promotion, but the kinds of deals that are coming to you. And then you do something else too. You also have events and you've got one coming up in Dallas here pretty soon. So can we dive into that on the other side of the break?
Absolutely, absolutely.
Perfect. And contact information for you. If somebody wants to see what you're all about and how they can participate with you, how do they reach out to you?
The best way is just to go to angelnetwork.com, ANGEL network.com, angelnetwork.com. I've had that site up since 1997. And from there, they can join our group as an investor. They can join as an entrepreneur. As we also have a C-level directory of high-level executives that want to help entrepreneurs as well. Then get involved with that as well at that website.
Okay, great. And we can talk about that too on the other side of the break. We'll be right back with Greg Reiter, CEO, Angel Investor Network, angelinvestornetwork.com.